Most people today use way too many words, trying hard to be seen and heard. Everyone wants to show their value, defend their decisions, and hold on to people who are already leaving. The more you fight to be understood, the less people seem to notice you. But ancient thinkers followed a different, quieter rule. A rule that cuts through all the fuss and drama. Don't chase. Don't plead. Don't over-explain. Because quiet isn't about being weak. It's about strength. It's about respect. It's about real power. When you stop running after others, you stop running from yourself. When you stop asking for their focus, you get your self-worth back. And when you stop justifying every choice, you learn your value isn't something others get to decide. In this video, we'll walk through 6 quiet truths in a simple week-long practice that can turn your calm into your biggest strength. Take a deep breath and let's start. 1. Your quiet makes them notice your empty space. A specific kind of hurt begins when someone starts taking you for granted. They reply only when it helps them. They come and go as they like, acting as if you'll always be there. When that happens, your first feeling is to repair it. You try to make things clear, to ask what's wrong, to show you're worth their time. You make more noise, hoping it draws them back. But noise doesn't pull people closer. It actually pushes them away. The tough lesson is this. The harder you try, the more you show them they can do less and still keep you. When you give too much, you teach them to value you less. When you won't create distance, you show them your own self-respect can be debated. And once someone knows you're scared to lose them, the balance changes completely. Not because they're more powerful, but because you left your own core. Ancient wisdom teaches the opposite of what panic tells you to do. It says that choosing quiet is the first step to taking back control. Not to play games, not to scare them, but to stop pouring your energy into a place that doesn't give it back. Quiet creates a void, and that void makes people see what's missing. When you stop texting first, people sense the gap you used to fill. When you stop making excuses for how they act, they face the results of their own actions. When you stop letting them into your heart so easily, they finally understand what a gift it was. Think of times you tried to get answers, notice, or comfort from someone. Did it bring them near, or did it make you feel smaller as they drifted? Now remember when you stepped back with calm honor. No big scenes, no blaming, no long talks, just a peaceful step away. In those times, people suddenly see your worth, not because you asked, but because your empty space highlights everything they assume would always be there. Quiet is not a weakness. Quiet is emotional weight. It pulls real feelings into the light. It shows who messages you when you don't start the chat. It reveals who values you enough to meet your energy. It points out who only stayed because you kept things going for both of you. And it teaches you a very freeing idea. If your quiet ends a relationship, you were never truly valued. This kind of quiet isn't about revenge. It's about guarding yourself. It protects your honor from those who treat you like a backup plan. It rebuilds your sense of worth without needing others to say it's okay. It ends a cycle of proving yourself to people who don't really see what you offer. And most importantly, it brings you back to the part of you that knew you deserved better long before you got tired. Today, instead of sending one more text, pick stillness. Instead of demanding reasons, pick space. Instead of trying to be listened to, pick being calm. Quiet is where your self-respect comes home. Quiet is where your power builds. And quiet is the moment they understand what they let go. Not because you yell for their eyes, but because you finally stopped giving your attention away freely. 2. Quiet lets you listen to what you really know. Most think quiet is empty, but quiet is an entrance. It's when the world stops yelling long enough for you to hear the voice you've been ignoring, your own. When life gets loud, you can't tell the difference between what you feel and what you're afraid of. You mix up nervousness with your gut feeling. You mix up being alone with being in love. You mix up habit with true loyalty. And you mix up the sound of your past hurts with the real voice of your heart. The only way to tell them apart is to step into quiet. Quiet tears down false stories. It shows what your feelings try to hide behind rush and reaction. When someone distances themselves from you, your first thought is to blame yourself. You wonder what you did incorrectly. You wonder how to make it right. You wonder how to make them stay. But when you sit in quiet, a different voice appears. The one that's been telling you truths you didn't want to face. It says you've been offering too much. It says you've been accepting too little. It says you confuse routine with fondness, notice with love, and uncertainty with a real bond. Quiet is where the falsehoods collapse. Those old thinkers believed every feeling holds a message, but you can only hear that message when your mind is still. When you stop talking, stop protecting, stop grabbing, you make room for understanding to appear. Suddenly, the things you try to talk away become clear. You see that their distance didn't start recently. You just didn't want to look. You see that the standards you kept lowering were never thanked. You see that your wish to hold on came from fear, not from courage. And most of all, you see that you were looking for an ending when what you really needed was bravery. Quiet lets you separate what you wish for from what is true. You may wish for someone to come back, but quiet shows you if they are worthy of it. You may wish for a situation to get better, but quiet shows you if it ever will. You may wish to be known, but quiet shows you if the other person can even know you. Clear thinking doesn't come from talking. It comes from space. It comes from room to breathe. It comes from letting the truth sit without you trying to fix it. When you quiet the outside world, you start hearing the three truths that count the most. The first truth, you stayed longer than was good for you, not because you weren't strong, but because you had love. The second truth, you don't need them to tell you why things shifted. You only need to admit what already did. The third truth, your calm is more valuable than your fear of being by yourself. And once you hear these truths, you can't unhear them. This is why quiet scares people who avoid their own company. Without noise, they would have to face their own mixed-up ideas. Without something to distract them, they would have to look at their decisions. Without someone else filling the quiet, they would have to listen to the hollow feeling inside. But for you, quiet is freedom. It is the moment you stop being led by feelings and start being led by insight. Sit with your quiet. Let it ache. Let it show you. Let it clean you out. It will tell you everything you are trying so hard to ignore and everything you need to finally move ahead with strength, honor, and truth. 3. Looking for an ending from them betrays you. There's a time after someone hurts you when your whole mind wants answers. You want to know why they changed, why they left, why they quit trying, why they treated you like you no longer mattered. You think if they would just talk and explain, you could understand the pain. You believe that clear words from them will give you calm. But the hard fact is this. Wanting that ending is often just wanting to put off accepting what happened. And chasing that ending from the person who hurt you is the quickest way to hurt yourself more. An ending is rarely a talk. It's rarely an admission. And it's almost never a perfect reason that makes everything make sense. Most times, an ending is just a hope in your heart. The hope that the person who broke you will somehow also be the one to fix you. But if they were able to give you honesty with kindness, they wouldn't have left you wondering in the first place. If they were grown up enough to own up, you wouldn't be standing alone asking questions to a shut door. An ending isn't something you get from them. It's something you give to yourself. What those thinkers knew is that needing someone to explain their choices give them control over your recovery. You hand them power over your peace. You let them decide when you can finally move forward. And that is giving up on yourself. Putting your emotional freedom in the hands of someone who has already shown they can't be trusted with it. The moment you stop asking for answers is the moment you stop being tied to what they do. Think about the loops you've been stuck in. When you sought an ending, you sent a long note hoping for truth. They reply with something unclear, uncaring, or argumentative. You feel unhappy, so you try again, explaining, asking, sharing your view. But the more you try to clear the mess, the messier it gets. You aren't looking for truth anymore. You're looking for comfort. And the more comfort you seek from them, the more they see your calm depends on their attention. That pattern always ends with you getting smaller and them pulling back even more. Now, think of the times you walked away without a sound. You didn't ask. You didn't fight. You didn't ask for them to be responsible. You simply accepted the truth their actions already showed you. And what happened? You felt better sooner. You got your honor back. Your energy returned. Because when you take the ending into your own hands, you take your power back. You stop waiting for someone else to free you from a story you were never meant to live in. An ending means seeing what they showed you, even when you hope for something else. An ending means letting the unanswered question stay that way. An ending means picking self-respect over self-torment. And an ending means telling yourself the truth they wouldn't say out loud. The connection ended the moment you stopped being treated kindly, not the moment you finally walked away. For quiet shows you habits, not sweet words. When someone is up and down with you, their words become a mask. They say things to make their actions hurt less. They make vows to distract you from their routines. They tell you they care, but they don't appear. They say they didn't mean to hurt you, but they do the same things again. They say you matter, but only when it's easy for them. Words become their disguise. Habits, on the other hand, never trick you. And quiet is the only way to see the difference. When you stop filling the air with questions, you let their behavior speak without you jumping in. Quiet removes the noise of your wishes and shows the reality of their ways. It makes you watch instead of guess. It makes you look at what they do instead of what they say. And it makes them act without your constant support to make it okay. People can pretend to feel love. They can pretend to be interested. They can pretend to try for a short while. But they cannot pretend to be steady. Quiet turns your focus away from their promises and onto their actual steps. Most ignore habits because habits are painful. A habit shows you the truth you don't want to admit. A habit shows you how little effort someone wants to give. A habit shows you exactly where you stand in their life. So instead of facing that fact, you hold on to promises. Those warm, nice words that make you believe things will change. But a promise is just a maybe. A habit is real evidence. And quiet is the tool that makes that evidence impossible to miss. That old philosophy teaches that watching is stronger than replying. As long as you keep replying, you can't see well. You're too busy trying to save the idea. Too busy making excuses for their behavior. Too busy wishing they will suddenly become the person you dreamed they were. But once you go silent, you stop writing the story for them. You let the clues add up. You watch who contacts you without you starting it. You watch who vanishes when you step back. You watch who gets annoyed when you stop being always available. These reactions show far more than any reason ever could. One of the most telling moments in any bond, whether with a friend, partner, or coworker, is what happens when you pull your energy away. Do they step up? Do they change their effort? Do they see the difference? Or do they just like the quiet because it frees them from having to try? Your quiet becomes the test they can't study for. Without your reminders, without your emotional work, without your constant being there, their true habits come out naturally. 5. Not explaining is true confidence. There comes a time when you see that explaining yourself is a silent way of asking for permission. Every time you talk too much about a choice, you're really saying, please get me. Please agree with me. Please don't think badly of me. And the moment your worth depends on someone else's understanding, you give them power they never earned. Confidence starts the moment you quit doing that. People who are not sure of themselves always speak the most. They give reasons for every move, protect every selection, and hurry to fix every mix-up. They are afraid of being seen wrongly, so they try to control how others view them. But how people see you is a game you can't win. No matter how much you explain, people will still hear you through their own fears, opinions, and wants. You can speak perfectly, and they will still bend your words to fit the tale they like. So why keep acting for a crowd that was never really paying attention? That old thinking teaches that your deeds are your explanation. Your choices are your announcement. Your character is your proof. You don't need to persuade anyone of who you are. You just need to be who you are. The more solid you become, the less you care about fixing every mix-up. You know that people who truly want to know you will ask honestly, and people who want to misjudge you will do it anyway. Either way, quiet guards your honor better than any speech ever could. When you stop explaining yourself, something strong occurs. The right people admire you more. The wrong people show their true colors faster. People who like to control hate when you stop explaining because they lose the ability to twist your words and use your openness against you. In contrast, people with good hearts appreciate directness. If you say, this is my choice, they accept it. If you say, I prefer this, they honor it. Confidence makes everything simpler. Think about the last time you gave someone a lengthy reason, hoping they would get you. Did it make the bond stronger, or did it make you feel lesser? Now, think about the last time you calmly stated your stand without defending it. You probably felt more powerful, more steady, more true to yourself. That's because confidence is built on trusting yourself, not on others saying yes. You don't need to say why you're setting limits. You don't need to say why you left. You don't need to justify your standards, your healing, your quiet, or your decisions. Your life is not a court, and you are not being judged. The moment you stop explaining, you free yourself from the hard work of convincing people who don't deserve to see inside your world. 6. Calmly letting go is the lesson they always remember. There's a point in every connection where words stop having meaning. Not because you don't care anymore, but because you finally see the truth so clearly that there's nothing left to say. And that point, the point you let go in quiet, teaches people more than any fight, talk, or emotional explosion ever could. Calmly letting go is unforgettable because it removes the show. It removes the bargaining. It removes the idea that they still have a way into your life. People expect an ending talk. They expect reasons. They expect one last try to mend what's broken. When you give none of that, you break their whole plan. Quiet reveals reality without making it soft. Your absence makes them feel the results of their actions without your hard work making it easier. They can't argue with quiet. They can't twist it. They can't use it to their advantage. Quiet is pure responsibility. Those ancient thinkers understood this deeply. They believe the strongest form of self-command is refusing to join fights that empty your spirit. Calmly letting go is not being mean. It is seeing clearly. It is the moment you understand you can't rescue someone who doesn't want to be rescued, can't cling to someone who doesn't pick you, and can't heal in a place that keeps cutting the same wound. Quiet becomes the way out. Think about the times you asked for understanding or struggled to prove your value. Did it create respect or did it create weariness? Now think about the times you stepped away with kindness, not rage. You didn't slam the door. You simply stopped knocking. You didn't say you were finished. You were simply finished. That point always hits deeper than shouting ever could. People feel it inside. They feel the sudden hollowness. They feel the energy change because losing someone who still wanted them is bothersome. But losing someone who walked away with peace is a shock they can't forget. Calmly letting go is also a promise to yourself. It is the moment you pick honor over mess, calm over confusion, self-respect over just trying to survive emotionally. You stop trying to fix what isn't yours anymore. You stop reopening injuries. Try to understand why they happened. You stop chasing answers from someone who has already shown you who they are. You take back your energy, your time, and your emotional weight. That taking back is power. People will wonder why you left so softly. They'll replay talks in their mind. They'll study your quiet, try and find the moment they lost you. The truth is, they lost you long before you walked off. Your quiet only made it obvious. And that is why calmly letting go stays with them. Not because you punish them, but because you finally honored yourself. When someone makes you choose between losing them and losing yourself, let them go. Walk off gently. Walk off without a big scene. Walk off without explaining. Calmly letting go isn't about teaching them a lesson, though it will. It's about remembering who you are, what you deserve, and what you will no longer take. Sometimes the softest goodbye is the one that lasts the longest. 7. The 7-day practice of chosen quiet. Quiet becomes a real strength only when it becomes a regular practice. Anyone can be silent for a moment out of anger or ego, but the thoughtful form of quiet is planned, built, and rooted in self-respect. It is a kind of quiet that changes your emotional life, makes your sense of self stronger, and retrains how you answer to people and situations that once ruled your peace. To build that kind of strength, you need a practice. Something you can do every day, a method that trains your mind to stay centered instead of just reacting. The first step is to look inward. Spend a day just noticing when you speak from fear rather than from clear thought. Notice the times you try to explain yourself too fast. The times you answer just to get comfort. The times you talk because stillness makes you uneasy. Seeing these patterns without judging them is the start of getting good at this. Quiet becomes easier when you know what causes your noise. Next comes knowing what to say. Most people talk too much because they don't know how to say little. Write down a few short lines that protect your calm without being harsh. Simple, steady words like, I can't do that, or my mind is made up, or I'll think about it. Create space without explaining or agreeing to too much. These phrases train your words to guard your energy instead of spilling it. Then, practice not reacting right away. Pick one whole day where you do not answer immediately to anything that upsets you. Someone sends a snippy message. Wait. Someone pushes for a response. Breathe. Someone tries to pull you into trouble. Step aside. Quiet breaks the cycle of emotional quickness. It teaches you that not every invitation earns your presence. The next part of the practice is watching. When you use fewer words, you increase your attention. See how people act when you stop filling the quiet for them. Who reaches out? Who fades away? Who gets upset by your calm? Who treats your limits with respect? The shift in your behavior shows the shape of your relationships more clearly than any chat ever could. Then comes release. Write a letter to someone you feel tight about inside. Not to send, but to free yourself from the pressure in your chest. Say the things you need to say, the things you wish were known, the truth you've been holding. And when you're done, tear it up or put away. This isn't an ending for them. It's an ending for you. The sixth step is getting your energy back. Silence what drains you. Unfollow what mixes you up. See less of people who use your kindness. Your quiet grows stronger when your surroundings stop tugging at it. Finally, make a vow to yourself. One sentence that says how you want to live. Something like, I pick peace over putting on a show. Or, my energy is mine to keep safe. Repeat it until it feels natural. This practice isn't about shutting people out. It's about coming back to yourself. When quiet becomes a regular choice, your presence becomes a choice. And when your presence is a choice, nothing and no one can pull you off your center again. Quiet isn't about hiding. It is about reclaiming you. When you stop chasing, the wrong people leave. When you stop pleading, your honor returns. When you stop explaining, your confidence rises. And when you master quiet, you stop living just reacting to others and start living in line with your own truth. Those ancient thinkers knew this long before we did. That peace isn't found by controlling the world, but by mastering the world inside you. Carry these ideas with you. Try the practice. Guard your energy. Let your absence speak when your presence is no longer appreciated. And remind yourself that quiet isn't the end of your power. It is the start of it. If this message meant something to you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Let me know in the comments how choosing quiet has changed things for you. And if you found value here, please like this video to help the channel Winds of Thought. Until next time, stay steady, stay true, and let your quiet be your greatest strength.